Well, good evening. Welcome to Space Oddities. Thank you for joining us on this Monday evening for the 8th test flight of Starship. We are about 15 minutes behind where we thought we'd be at this point, but the launch has been delayed a little bit. We're now looking at liftoff in just over 14 minutes. So the spaceship is in the process of being fueled, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. There have been a few scares about the weather. There was a high wind shear, but everything appears to be progressing for the moment. So anyway, thank you for being here. I'm joined this evening by Michael and Roger and Daz, whose faces might seem overly familiar to you, in which case I apologize. But lovely to see you all. How are you all, guys?
Fine, thank you.
It's lovely. And this panel
Not so bad.
Been off a crime watch.
Yeah. All right then. So here we are with the with the 8th test flight of Starship. What do we think, guys? What's going to happen this time? Are you banking on a success?
Well, yeah. Let's hope they catch the booster again.
Yeah. Let's hope the Starship stays in one piece.
Yeah.
I mean, they traced the fault. There was an actual leak in between the skin and the actual fuel leak into the in between the skin and the fuel tank, and it caught fire because we could see just for a short while in the flaps in the hinge you could see some flames flickering, and unfortunately it detonated the fuel, and of course we had the spectacular light show, but that's all been resolved. So
yes, it was caused by harmonics, excessive vibrations on the way up, which ruptured a fuel line, and the fuel was leaking out faster than the venting system could vent it, and eventually it affected the ability of the Starship to direct itself, and the flight termination system said, "Oh, hang on a minute, there's something going on wrong here, and I better commit suicide," which is what it did.
So if it survives the splashdown, I'll take it will then attempt to recover it.
Yeah.
What remains of it?
What remains of it? Yeah.
Because remember, you've got that metal so hot, it just crumples as soon as it hits cold water. Yeah. That's why we get the explosions. People think there's a failure, but of course, if you put something really white hot into cold water, seawater at that, things are going to fracture, and that's what happens usually, and we get flames. So, and hopefully we won't get a booster crashing down in the Gulf of Mexico and burning for 3/4 of an hour before they send out a jet fighter to shoot it and sink it.
Yeah. Anyway, so who have we got with us this evening? Kenneth's here. Hello, Kenneth. Hi, Ian. Hope you're okay. Who else have we got watching? Make yourself known in the comments now. So just like to know who's with us tonight, so we can talk to you. So thank you for being here. We do appreciate it. And don't forget, we've got a few things coming up this week. Today's launch of the Ariane 6 was postponed for reasons unknown. We're just waiting for a new date at the moment, but it's definitely not happening in the near future, as far as we can make out, which was a bit of a shame. Thank you to those of you who did join us this afternoon for the launch of Ariane, but unfortunately it didn't happen, and no word on why. But there we are. Also on the 5th, which is tomorrow, we've got the launch of SpaceX. SpaceX and Punch, and SpaceX is a new astronomical telescope from NASA. It's going to carry out a wide-angle infrared survey of the entire night sky. We're really excited about this because although obviously we have the James Webb telescope, which is an infrared observatory, it's very good at zooming in on single objects, but what it doesn't have is a wide angle. So SpaceX is going to create a new infrared survey of the entire sky at 4 different infrared wavelengths. So this should be really interesting. Also launching is Punch, which is a satellite dedicated to studying the solar corona. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, Punch is 4 separate satellites.
Oh, it's 4 separate ones.
With position themselves.
That's right. Each the size of a suitcase, if I remember rightly.
All right.
The 3D look at the
Yeah.
yeah.
So we've got those coming up. Do check the channel for dates and times, because as you know, these things do change. For us, it's a really early morning launch of Sphere X and Punch. What time is it? About 3? Was it 3:50 UK time or something like that? I can't remember.
9 minutes past 3 it's got here.
9 minutes past 3.
Can I just say something? You just, Andy, you just said it's tomorrow. Well, for us, it's still a day after tomorrow.
Yes, of course.
We're still,
yes.
yeah, we're still in the 3rd. It's on the 5th.
So it's the 6th. So it's the early morning of the 6th.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
So,
the 6th. Yeah, sorry.
But do check the channel, viewers, for that, because these things, as we know, change. And a bit further, of course, tomorrow night we've got our Tuesday live stream, and the live stream for that will be up at some point tomorrow. So do join us tomorrow night for the normal Tuesday live stream. And then on the 18th, we are going to be joined by a very special guest. We're going to be joined by Gurbir Singh, who is a space writer, and he's going to be talking to us about the current and future plans for the Indian space program. He's actually written a book about the Indian space program, as well as other books. So we're going to be really honoured and delighted to have Gurbir join us on Tuesday, the 18th of March at 8 p.m. UK time for a chat about the Indian space program. That should be really interesting.
Yeah, I met Gurbir about, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago at one of the space days in Worcester.
Yeah.
2019, I think. Yeah, nice guy. So.
Yeah, well, he actually got in touch with me.
All right.
I'm guessing it was a long time ago. So I'm guessing around 2008, 2009, something like that. And he got in touch with me to ask me to be a guest on his podcast. And there you are. Oh, Paul's here. Paul Wheaton is here. And Paul says, hi, team. Enjoying the show as always. Thank you, Paul. We enjoy having you. And thank you for being here. So, So anyway, Gurbir is going to be joining us for a chat about the Indian space program. And that's on the 18th of March. And don't forget in April, the whole of April on Space Oddities is going to be Moon Month, where we're going to be delivering content to you, anything and everything about the moon, because this is very much the year of the moon in terms of exploration. So we're going to be doing a whole month's programming, not just about the moon, but we're going to be featuring a lot of programming about the moon that we're just putting together at the moment. So from the 1st of April onwards, all of April is Moon Month here on Space Oddities. If you do have any moon stories that you would like to share with us, perhaps a myth or a legend that you particularly like, or perhaps you've got a favorite book about the moon or a favorite film, if you've got any memories of the moon in terms of programs like Apollo, then anything you want to share with us about the moon, just put them in an email, address it to moonmonth@spaceoddities.space, moonmonth@spaceoddities.space, and we will feature it during the month. But, your support for Moon Month would be gratefully appreciated. We've got some really interesting stuff coming up for you in April in that regards.
And the big surprise for Michael there is he's going to be our roving reporter, and we're sending him to the moon to bring to give us news as it actually everything is going on.
As it actually happens.
He'll give us the weather report.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if he's very lucky, we'll get him a return ticket back.
Yay!
but there we are. So yes,
can't afford that.
right, forget that. I'll have to check the funds, but
we have to sell a lot of coffees.
Yeah, a lot of coffees. And speaking of which, viewers, if you would like to support Space Oddities, then don't forget that you can do so by buying us a coffee. And all you need to do is to either scan this code that's going to appear on the screen, or you can click the link in the chat, and that will take you to the Buy Me a Coffee website where you can buy us a coffee. And thank you very much for that. You can also make a donation directly to Space Oddities by clicking the super chat icon, which is the one with the $sign on it underneath the chat window, and that will allow you to make a donation directly. And don't forget, all money goes towards keeping the channel running. We have, of course, also got the Space Oddities shop, where you can buy your lovely merchandise from Space Oddities. That is to say, t-shirts and hoodies. And again, all proceeds go towards funding the channel. So I know it's not exactly t-shirt weather at the moment, but it will be soon. So why not buy them in advance, fill your wardrobe with them, and then you'll never be short of something to wear when you go out in the gloriously hot British sunshine. So there we are.
In anticipation for that, we've extended our opening hours. We now open Sundays as well.
Oh yes, that's right. We now open Sundays as well. So there we are. Right, guys, I'm just going to disappear for a second because I need to reload my browser. By the look of it, it's beginning to slow down. So I will be with you in 1 second.
Okay, we'll see you in a minute, Andy. Well,
so how long is it to launch us?
We are, Andy's just taken our thing away. 3 minutes, 3 minutes 45.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think what
I hope we get to see something through that,
cloud.
Heavy cloud.
It's going to be possibly some fun and games to watch it come back.
Yeah.
What I'm just going to do, that's Space Origin. I'm just going to load it myself, just in case Andy doesn't get back. We don't want to miss the
launch.
So we're doing. He's using NASA's Space Flight, isn't he?
Yeah, that's who I'm with now. So what we're going to do is we're going to charge that. No, not. We do this. Back to restream. Right, let me share screen. Can you see that, lads?
Yep.
Yep.
Good. Let me just make it huge.
Ooh.
There we go. Then I will come back to us.
Oh, that's better.
Right, there we go. So just in case we don't get Andy back. So as you can see, it is foggy. I mean, it has lifted a lot because earlier on, about an hour and a half ago, we could hardly see the Starship. But it's definitely cleared. There's some sunshine. It looks like it's fogging up a bit more. You can actually see the buildings in the background where they actually assemble the starships. You wouldn't have seen that a little while ago.
Okay.
So it might make it a bit fun to come back when it comes back. So and is back. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget that this mission is basically a rerun of Flight 7 that failed as far as the Starship went. So the objectives are pretty much the same. Test the payload dispensing system, known as the PEZ dispenser, by launching, I think, 10 dummy Starlink satellites to make sure that Starship can deploy its payloads in orbit, and also to obviously test out the modifications that they've made since the last mission. The Starship the booster will return for another catch attempt back to the launch pad. The Starship will go around the Earth and splash down again in the Indian Ocean. So it's pretty much the same flight profile as last time, but this time, hopefully, with no explosions.
The only the difference is they were showing comparisons of the height of this thing. This Starship, I don't know whether it was the same on the last launch, but this Starship is taller than what they normally are.
Yeah. Okay. Hang on, just a minute. There's a hold on the countdown.
Oh, great.
Oh, there.
Oh no. Oh.
They have a.
Was that a programmed hold? Because that was about the 40-second mark.
There was something. Yeah, there was something about that. They do have a 40-second hold.
Right. Okay.
So it could be just.
Let me just maximize this, and can we have some sound, Daz, please?
Oh, don't know about that. That costs. Yeah, let me just come over here. Just got to plug back on there. Ooh, where are you gone? Have we lost it, Andy?
No, it's still there.
Oh, I haven't got it on
We
here.
have no sound.
Right, Emily, let me just come on here.
Oh, yes, it's a programmed hold for final launch checkouts. You got problems, Daz?
Right.
It does. You okay?
Daz, have you got problems?
Won't be a second.
Have you got
For some
problems?
unknown reason, they decided to jump out of the. Bear with me. Where have you gone? Won't be a second.
So this is the normal procedure that they count down to about 40 seconds and hold just to make sure everything is fine. Are you having problems, Daz? Because if you are, I'll put my screen up.
Can you hear that?
No. Right, stop sharing. I'll put mine up immediately.
Okay.
One second.
Bring you into this conversation as we've got a hold here. Let's talk about that T0 timeline. We talked a little bit about the deluge system. We talked about the static way they ignite all of the engines, but there's fire suppression systems and all those things. What happens as when we hit that like T5 second mark? What are those things that happen in rapid succession right before liftoff?
Yeah, they get down to the T-minus 10 second, they activate the deluge. If that were to happen today and then they hold after that, they will not be able to launch, right? That's one of the sort of no return points on the countdown. So that's why they stop here at T-minus 40 seconds, because this is the good time. After this, things get very active and there's even no return points on the count. And so T-minus 10 seconds, they activate the flame deflector, that deluge system. T-minus 3 seconds, in very rapid succession, they light first the 13 engines in the middle ring and the 3 center engines, right? Those 13 engines on the middle of the super heavy booster. Then 15 of the 20 outer engines ignite next, about 1 second later. And then 800 milliseconds later, the remaining 5 ignite. These engines do not ignite all at full thrust. They're actually at partial thrust, because the booster right now, or the rocket entirely right now, is not held down. It's just sitting there on the pedestals on the OLM, so it's not hold down. They need to throttle up those engines, and that's the T0 mark. The T0 mark is the launch commit. If for whatever reason nothing were ready to go, or some things were not looking good, then the vehicle will shut down the engines and not go. But if everything looks good, at T0, they ramp up the power, those engines, and lift off. That's why liftoff, it's like 2 seconds into the count, right? Like they go to T0 and then T+1, T+2, and that's when it starts moving, because it needs a bit of time for those engines to ramp up to power and essentially, start moving the rocket. But yeah.
Thank you for
really
that, Alex.
Active and very quick. Like it's all automated. There's no way for any manual, sequencing.
Yep. And as soon as it reaches that 1-to-1 ratio, right, thrust to weight ratio, it's going. And what did you say? The Raptor has currently the thrust to weight ratio. It can lift. I don't know. I'd probably put you on the spot for that.
It's about 1.5 off the pad TWR. That's pretty fast.
It's going to go when they ramp those up. The word we're getting right now is they're still working an issue on the ship. We are at a T-minus 40 second hold, which was expected. If you're just joining us, you're watching live launch coverage from NSF, NASASpaceflight.com. Also on the Popular Science channel, live coverage of Starship Test Flight 8, or Flight 8 is what we call it. And on your screen right now is Ship 34, which is stacked on Booster 15. And both of them are fully fueled, and we are 40 seconds from launch. The SpaceX team is working through. They had an issue with the booster. They've cleared that issue, and they want to make sure everything is green and ready to go for this launch. Yes, I believe we did talk about the hold limit. I didn't get an exact number. I'm getting a question. Alex, what is that exact number? How long they can hold? At T40?
Yeah, I was actually asking in the back channel if we know if they have updated that, because at least from the previous updates, it seems like it's about 15 minutes. We're already 5 minutes into the hold sequence.
There you go.
Oh, clock's moving.
Hold's
We're moving
released.
forward.
We are
Launch.
we are go.
Here,
It looks
go for
like.
launch. You're
Wait,
going to
there we
see
go.
Here we go. 7
Like when we
seconds.
said that, I went back to 41.
Hang on.
Stand back.
You got really excited there, EJ.
Oh, come
I'm
on.
jonesing.
They're holding again.
The clock
that's
is
40.
holding at
Oh, no.
41. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
flag
so
one all
As
again.
soon as that clock starts moving, we're gonna break in. EJ is gonna punch me again. And
I even heard the vent. Remember what
Yeah,
Adrian
you
said
heard
about
it.
the vent?
Yeah.
I heard it. 'Cause
That's like a very.
also has,
It's a deep, like
like push.
hissing sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like. That's the fluid chill down.
that's okay. We've got a fully fueled ship. They're working the problem on the SpaceX
Oh, dear.
side. And when the countdown continues again, we will let you know, and I will get punched in the shoulder yet again, which is the stop talking gene. Yeah. What does that say? What?
Apparently this holds
my
were
parents
automatic.
texted me and said, "Don't punch Gene again."
Don't punch Gene.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, I
So-
won't.
He boosted tripped some holes. So
Oh,
that,
Yeah.
okay.
just to explain that in non-rocket terms, there are usually some sort of redline monitors, and the booster basically went into an automatic sequence and probably tripped some of these redline checks, and with that automatically also triggers a hold.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they mentioned, which would explain why we heard the vent and why they were counting down, and then suddenly it tripped the automatic checks, right? And so it went back to that hold point.
Again, those sensors are working
Yeah.
as expected. They want the health of the vehicle to be as close to 100% as they can get before they launch the largest flying object into space for a second time. And hopefully, after stage separation, this ship will continue on its mission if we can clear this T40 second hold. Let's talk about the flight profile after launch, since we've got some time to talk about that, because I said there's a nice vent. There's some good vent noises for you.
Oh yeah, you're hearing all kinds of good stuff here.
Yeah. So once it gets off the launch pad and we get to stage separation, what's something called
Okay, give me 1 second.
Well,
Seem to be losing the signal there slightly.
The moment these weird vent sounds came up, like Alex
Yeah.
and I in the camera were like,
Mhm.
uh-oh.
yep.
That sound exactly the sound that we didn't want to hear. We have a scrub for today.
Oh.
Oh no!
What?
We're
It
familiar
happens.
with these vents because it's also what we see
I
when they have a test, right? And then they abort the test, and we
Well, it looks
hear
like
the depress vent before anything happens, and it's like, well, that doesn't sound good, right? And
so. Unfortunately, viewers, it's scrubbed. The launch is scrubbed for today.
There they are.
So
Oh no.
that's
Story of
2
our
out of
life, isn't
2 scrubs today. Ariane was scrubbed, and now the Starship. So really sorry, viewers, but as you'll appreciate, there's nothing that we can do about it.
Yeah.
So if they put on a hold for 24 hours,
Right.
which seems likely, we'll be back here at the same time tomorrow night for another go. So from all of us at Space Oddities, we're as disappointed as you viewers. Really sorry about that. But for whatever reason, they've decided that the spacecraft isn't ready to launch. And there we are.
Okay.
What can we do? This is space, and what do we always say, guys?
Space is
is
hard.
Hard. I mean,
Space
aim
hard.
right, don't go.
Yeah, and
Ooh.
and especially when you're launching the biggest, most complex flying machine ever invented by humans,
Yeah.
you know, we kind of expect these things. And after all, it is a test flight. It's part of the test program. So you learn from your data. and they certainly will, and try and fix it. Let's hope they fix it by tomorrow. So we hope to see you the same time tomorrow, around 11:30 British time. And until then, from all of us at Space Oddities, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Have a good day, and bye-bye from all of us.
Fingers crossed, everyone.